Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh. A very warm welcome to Sangat Television. My name is Karamjit Singh Thind from the Kalgita Trust, UK. Our program today is all about Educate to Save. Educate to save, to give the children a value-based education. They can be from different backgrounds. They will all get the same education to be better citizens in the 21st century. I'm indeed privileged today that we have amongst us some children from British schools who enjoy both Gurmat education over the weekend and attend normal schools as normal children in this country. Our program Educate to Save, actually its root is in India. It's a dream, is a vision of Sant Baba Iqbal Singh Ji of Baru Sahib and Sardar Jatinder Singh Ji Uppal of Australia. The thinking is that Punjab needs to receive better quality education, value-based education. Our efforts are not just to give value-based education, but also to develop the capacity of the Panth to feel the challenges of tomorrow. The effort that's going on under the Educate to Save program today is remarkable. There are already about 150 schools all over Punjab and the surrounding states. These schools offer value-based education. Students have already reached NASA, Google, and other multinational corporations. Now we know that the schools, the government schools in the Punjab, you can attend 10 years of education or 10 plus 2. By the time you sort of graduate from the school, you can hardly even speak English or even write Gurmukhi properly. So what our teams are doing at this moment in time, they are visiting the government schools just before the term is about to start in March, April, and they are identifying Gursikh children from underprivileged homes who can't even afford to buy a pint of milk a day. And they are identifying these kids and ensuring that they are already following a Gurmat Jeevan. And if they are, then we will actually take them over to these quality schools which offer value-based education. That's part of our effort. And actually the battle is on. It's a battle that's going to carry on for a number of years. But rather than go too much into what's going on behind the scene in Educate to Save, let me introduce you to some of the children that I have with me today who are part of this program. As I said earlier, they are receiving quality education. And in receiving this quality education, these children are fortunate that they have the full dedication of their parents. The school that they go to also provide quality education. And their community in Southall, at Guru Nanak Darbar Southall, is also giving them the full support. Let me first introduce you to Divnoor Kaur, who is 8 years of age. Divnoor won her first Gurbani competition at the age of 5. Since then, she's been winning a number of competitions from the most popular Hemkund Symposium at the center level. From the age of 7, Divnoor has been able to recite Japji Sahib up to 20 pauris by heart, Kirtan Sola and Ardas. She actively performs Kirtan in front of a congregation of over 3,000 at Guru Nanak Darbar. This is challenging. Now, this is personal development. Doing presentations, conducting yourself in the public, it takes a lot of confidence. And we want all our children to be like you. Can you tell us a little about yourself? Firstly, your name. What's your name?
Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh. My name is Divnoor Kaur Gadami.
How old are you?
I'm 8 years old.
Wow. And when was the first time you actually stood up in a Gurdwara or Hemkund symposium? Can you remember the first time?
About when I was 2.5.
Wow.
I started to say Char Sahibzade and Das Guru Sahibaan de Naam on the stage in the Gurdwara, and then when I was 5 years old, I started to say speeches in Sri Hemkund competition,
Hemkund, yeah.
And continuously till 4 years I've been coming first or second.
My God, I'm sure that makes your parents very proud.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure that it do so. Tell me, what actually inspired you the first time, at the age of 2.5, right? What made you say, I also would like to do this?
My big sister and my big brother, they used to say speeches on the stage, and I thought that, why can't I do that? So I thought that from that day I started saying.
So it was really your older brother and sister?
Yeah, who inspired.
Wow, so you're very lucky, aren't you, to have older brothers and sisters?
Yeah.
And if somebody didn't have an older brother or sister, who should they look upon? Up to?
Other people.
Other people, wow. Well, no, I think you're absolutely correct, actually. And tell me, what have you learned, by going on the stage? What has it done to you?
Like, I got more like, I learnt more about Sikh Dharma, and my self-confidence has got bigger, and I got general knowledge.
Your general knowledge has also improved. My God, I think that is very inspirational. I wish I was again as old as you and learned as quickly as you did. But tell me, who would you like to give credit to for this fast-track learning? You learn so fast.
My parents and grandparents, and the special thanks to Guru Nanak Dharmic School.
And your grandparents live with you?
No. And I'm talking about my mums.
Oh, your mum. Okay.
My mums.
Your mum. Your mum and dad.
Yeah, that's one.
Okay. So you got all the inspiration from everyone.
Yeah.
Sadhu Sangat ji, this is remarkable. Divnoor is also attending full-time education in school, but this value-based education is going to make her a better citizen, because she will be a better doctor, better engineer, once she has a good understanding of Sikh values. I'll take you to the next student. Her name is Tripti Kaur. Excuse me. She's 12 years of age. Since the age of 6, Tripti started participating in Hemkund Symposium. At the age of 7, she won 2nd position at the international level in the USA. She's always in the top 3 of the Punjabi school's final exams. And her teachers describe her as a very obedient and a well-mannered student. Tripti, can you tell me your name to start off with and your age?
My name is Tripti Kaur and I'm 12 years old.
Okay. And when was the first time and what age were you, when you first maybe came to Hemkund Symposium, or maybe at Guru Nanak Darbar you stood up and you said something?
I started Hemkund when I was 6 years old.
And what was the program?
Hemkund speech.
It was a Hemkund speech. Can you remember what that first speech was?
I think it was about Sri Guru Nanak Dev Ji Sacha Janeeu.
Wow, that's very, very good. And what inspired you to get onto the stage?
My cousin would always go on stage, and so would my sister. So I was inspired.
Just looking at them,
Yeah.
you thought you wanted to do it also.
Yeah.
How much older are they to you?
She's 15 years old.
Okay, just a few years. And what do you think you have learned from these symposiums or these Saturday, Sunday classes that you go to away from the school? What have you learned?
I've learned lots about Sikhi. Like we learn about Sikhi in school as well, but in like Punjabi class and all this, we learn how to write and speak it as well.
Write Gurmukhi
Yeah.
and speak, also practice the speech. Wow, now that's very, very good. And tell me, how many brothers and sisters have you got?
I have 3 younger brothers and 1 older sister.
Okay. And does your grandparents live with you, or are they
No, they like live close to us.
just fairly close by?
Yeah.
So that means you can see them very
Yeah.
regularly, and they're there to advise you, to guide you, and all that. And tell me, this journey, I'm sure, has been exciting for you.
Yeah.
And who would you like to credit so far in your life? Parents or
My
brothers?
mum and dad for sure,
Mhm.
my grandma, and my Masi
So they have inspired you.
a lot.
How's the Masi inspired you? Has she got children?
Yeah, her name is Jaspal Kaur, and she's inspired me a lot by, as she works in the Punjabi school as well, and she like puts our names forward to like go in, and like she tells us to go and try out these new things in Punjabi, and she tries to make us like closer to Sikhi.
Now that's fascinating. The next student, Sal Sangaji, I'm going to introduce you to is Harsimar Kaur Gudamani. She's 13 years of age. She started a Punjabi school at the age of 3. Perfect grooming time, because children can, at that age, are like a sponge. They will absorb anything. In 2014, she came first at the international level, again in the USA, in the Group 2 age group, and that's between the ages of 9 and 11. Harsimar, again, if you can introduce yourself.
Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa,
Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh.
My name is Harsimar Kaur, and I'm 13 years old.
Okay, and just like your predecessors, 2 of them has described, can you remember the first event where at the age of 3, either in a Gurdwara or amongst other gathering, you stood up and you recited something or told the story?
Yeah, in the age of 3, I stood up in Guru Nanak Darbar, and
This is here in South Hall?
Yeah.
Wow, okay.
And I did Das Guru Saiban and Char Sahibzade and all.
You told the story of Char Sahibzade and all
Yeah,
that.
I like said the names. And, yeah.
Wow. And how did you feel? What was the inspiration that made you do that?
Every end of the month in Guru Nanak Darbar, there's this, every Sunday at the end of the month, there's a program for kids specially organized.
Oh, every month?
Every
Okay.
month, end of every month. And other people used to do it that time, and I thought, why couldn't I do it? So I was inspired by that.
And have you got older brothers and sisters?
Yeah, I've got an older brother.
How
and
much
2 younger
older?
sisters.
How much older is he than you?
He's two years old.
Or just about 2 years? And was he also doing something similar?
Yeah, he was doing it with me. Like,
Okay. Now that's fascinating. What did you learn from this early sort of development from the age of 3 till now that you don't learn perhaps from your Monday to Friday school?
I learned a lot about my gurus and how I can put that forward into my own life, and how I can spend my free days and go to Punjabi class.
Do you see anything different from being a good human being and a good Gursikh? You think it's about the same?
No, yeah, it's no. With being a good Guru Sikh, you actually, God helps you a lot in life, and if you need any help and further on, you know, like where to go
where to ask,
and where to like have your put your question forward to and get the answer from.
What did you really learn from all this?
How to be a good human being.
Yeah, to be a good human being. And tell me, it's a very similar journey of Gurmukhs, Gurmukh Parwar, Gurmukh families. This is how they like to bring their children up, because it will make you a better human being. And as we were saying earlier, that Sikhi, the fundamental principles of Sikhi is to craft better human beings. And this program for the children, we are going to be calling Nurturing the Citizens of 21st Century, or Nurturing the Global Citizens of 21st Century. Who would you like to sort of give all this credit to? I mean, we all have grandparents, parents, brothers and sisters. Who deserves the most credit here in your life?
Guru Nanak Dharmic School, where since the age of 3 I've been going there, and I've learnt quite a lot, like a lot from there. If it wasn't there, I don't think I would have got all this learning.
I'm very impressed actually, because I think you're so right that you have credited an institution where the community leaders feel that their next generation needs certain type of community organization that can better prepare them how to face 21st century. And I think the Guru Nanak Darbar is the role model for Sikhs overseas. And I will be discussing perhaps with your school officials that I think it's a unique gift that they have. Waheguru has blessed them. Not every Sikh community around the world is doing that, but I think a lot of this is because of the difficulties they went through in Afghanistan. I think only through difficulties do you shape people, and I think what they have experienced, and when you hear about the history of the Afghan Sikhs, you also learn so much about Sikh history, how Guru Nanak Dev Ji went through Afghanistan. Which other guru? Was there any other guru who went to Afghanistan?
Guru Har Rai Sahib Ji had a really good relation with the Sikhs in Afghanistan. The Sakhis where he would be saying in Samadhi and be saying, "My Sikhs are calling me in Afghanistan," and then there's stories of him actually going there. Guru Gobind Singh Ji sent Hukamname specifically to the Sangat of Kabul, saying that this is my blessing and Ashirwad to you guys. Do this, and you will be one of the most successful people ever.
Sadh Sangat Ji, it's inspiring. I was about to introduce you to Ishmeet Singh, who is 14 years of age. Whilst attending his own Punjabi classes, whilst he was attending those classes and maturing in the Punjabi Gurmukhi language, art, history, he also took upon himself to give tuition to those younger than him and who were behind him in learning all about Gurmukhi. I think it's wonderful actually that what you have done, Ishmeet, is that the role you have played. Again, just like your predecessors here, when was the first time, if you can recall, is it again 2 years, 3 years or so, that you went onto stage or stood in the Gurdwara, and where was that?
So generally from a young age I've been constantly encouraged by my parents, Guru Nanak Dharmic School, to go on stage, recite Gurbani, and actually just show the world what we can do if we work together and be good Guru Sikhs. The Hemkund competition regarding that, I came into that quite recently. So my first speech competition was 2-3 years ago, and generally it's been a great experience because it's a constant support, not only from your parents, but from your school as well, from the Sangat as well, and it's just a constant encouragement. And highlighting that this is it's a great thing to do. Why not get involved?
You know, where did you get the inspiration? Again, earlier was from cousins, from parents. Is your story the same, that you had similar sort of environment?
Absolutely. So I would see people older than me that have taken part in the competition before. I'd see them on the podium speaking confidently, bravely. I'd see what the rewards of that would be, and I'd say, actually, it's just a great thing for me to do that as well. And then obviously it's a little bit hesitation, what if it goes wrong? And then you've got people behind you pushing you forward. Actually, nothing's going to go wrong. It's a good experience. Why not? It's a good thing to learn from. And so through that, it's a great way to get involved.
I mean, it's interesting. That was the next question. What did you learn? It's interesting that, I mean, our star here, presentation skills. Presentation skills are taught much later in school.
Absolutely.
In normal schools. And I still remember when I started work at the age of about 21, one of the things I had to learn was presentation skills then. You know, but fortunately lucky that being a Sikh, I was already just like you at the age of about 3, 4, standing up in the Gurdwara in Singapore, Malaysia, and reciting either the Japji Sahib, or telling the stories of the Gurus, or telling the stories of the mighty Banda Singh Bahadur. Wow, we all, as children, we love battles, don't we? You know, and I'm sure at some stage today we will also touch on Mai Pago, the great lady, woman, warrior. We're going to talk a lot about ladies today, but I think we'll come to that a little bit later. Other than, of course, presentation skills, is there anything in particular that you feel you have learned from public speaking or Gurmat education from Guru Nanak Darbar?
Absolutely. It's not just about public speaking, it's about implementing it in your own life as well. Now, the great thing about Guru Nanak Dharmic School is they don't only teach you what Gurbani is, Gurmukhi, but also the Sikh values, how to implement it in your life. Now, what Guru Nanak Dharmic School has done is one of the hardest things you could do for a kid. It sparked that interest of Sikhi. And once they spark it, they have so many avenues open for you to fuel that. So in my case, it was the spark came from the education, and the fueling was the Hemgun competition, where not only you could speak your opinions, but also listen to other people's opinions as well. And it's a great way to actually show how to conduct yourself in society, because what they tell you there, you won't really learn in English school. Because there's a certain way you act in society, and you've got to appreciate that our Punjabi culture, our society is a little different from the Western world that we live in, and it's an effective way to balance both and how to be respectful to all, to a wider audience.
I think you're quite right. English teaches you about speaking English, and then you go on to English literature. It talks about British literature. You learn that. You learn the sciences. You learn technical skills. Of course, it prepares you for the workplace. But to be better citizens and to be a better worker, where you have the entire humanity under your microscope, under your mind, under your thoughts, that is something Sikhi is quite unique. Sikhi does give you those tools, and like you rightly said, and we are very proud of Guru Nanak Darbar and the way they are executing or departing with this education on Gurmat principles to the students. I think that's very, very encouraging. Is there anything else that comes to your mind that you like to sort of reflect on your learnings? Because as compared to school, I'm sure you have learnt at Guru Nanak Darbar that even when the 10th master crafted the Khalsa at Anandpur Sahib, there are shabads or recitation where it says Khalsa Pargatyo Parmatam Ki Moj. Khalsa was not born, Khalsa was manifested. And the reason for that is very, very simple. Were there no human beings before? Why should have been in the heavens only joy when Khalsa was created? Why on that day? Is there I know I should be asking this question to much older people, but is there something in your lives that say, why was there joys? Why was the Khalsa crafted in another way?
So, personally, what I think is Khalsa was created because at that time there was lots of persecution. People weren't given the right to live. But Khalsa, it was so unique. It was given that role, those values by Akal Purkh himself, that actually you go out and do all these things to make society a safer place, not for yourself, but for people of other faiths, other religions, and other ethnicities. And I think that's exactly what we've been given in the form of education as well. Those values that have been passed down to us, so we can not only make our lives better, but make society better in general for everyone, regardless of religion, caste, colour, what background they come from.
मानव की जात एक पहचान है. This is Sikhi. This is exactly what the world is crying out today. And our gurus gave this from well over 500 years to the Khalsa, that all humanity is one. And that was Guru Nanak's mission as he traveled more than half the world to spread that message of the oneness of the Creator and His creation. It's all one. We are all from the same source. Tell me, is there anyone in your life who you would like to specially credit to say, well, thank you for putting me on this path?
Generally, it'd be my mom. I'd give credit to two people actually. It'd be my mom and my granddad. Because my mom, she'd obviously be the role model in the house, as in, if something goes wrong, no, this is wrong. And then it'd be through these constant stories about Gursikhi that told me actually this is alright, this is wrong, so moral stories. And then my granddad, so he'd be in the Gurdwara doing seva, I'd see him doing this, and then I'd be a curious child, so I'd ask him, why did you do this and how did you do this? What's the reason behind this? And so they wouldn't just say, go away, I'll talk to you later. They take time out and explain everything to me. This is important, this is why it's important, and you should be doing this or you shouldn't be doing this. And so generally it goes hand in hand. Not only is it what you learn from outside, but it starts from your inside, from your own house as well, and what you get from there reflects in your life as well.
No, it's very interesting that there is a dialogue between you, parents and grandparents. They are actually explaining to you the fundamental Sikh values. Who is a Sikh? A Sikh is the one who empowers others, not just his own family.
Absolutely.
Your grandfather is engaged in the Gurdwara because he's empowering the whole community. He's not only just sharing that knowledge and information with his own grandson. A Gursikh is the one who shares that with entire humanity. You can have a Christian, a Muslim, where you empower people, it will help you. A Sikh always empower others. And if you look at our history, with Guru Nanak Dev Ji, you got Bhai Mardana. When you come up right up to the fifth master, we are surrounded by Hindus and Muslims. Right up to the 10th master, Pir Buddhu Shah and others. Wow, such a diverse culture. Diversity is only spoken about today in the West, only today. But the Sikhs have been carrying that flag for well over 500 years. So I think it's a unique learning that you go through from, on a Saturday and Sunday at Guru Nanak Darbar. And our tribute and gratitude definitely goes to them. Khalsa ji, my next student who I'm going to introduce you to is the oldest. Her name is Harsimran Kaur. Not that old, only 15. At the age of 5, Harsimran entered the Hemkund Symposium competition and achieved international level continuously for 4 years. At the age of 10, she could recite Japji Sahib, Rehraz Sahib, Kirtan Sola and Ardas. By the time she was 12 years of age, she was the youngest child to complete her Punjabi studies in her school. At the age of 13, only 2 years ago, Harsimran started teaching Punjabi at Guru Nanak Dharmak School, also known as Guru Nanak Darbar South Hall, a teacher at the age of 13. She's an outstanding student and a great example of other students at the school. Sal Sangat ji, the Hemkund Symposium, I'm not sure the children know this today, but one of the founders of this institution about 35, 40 years ago was Lady Dr. Kamaljeet Kaur. Lady Dr. Kamaljeet Kaur is the wife of Lord Singh of Wimbledon. The family was blessed to have the foresight at that stage, about 40 years ago, that our community, just like Guru Nanak Darbar is thinking today, that we need to shape the future of the community. For that, they will need to understand the roots and the history of the Sikh faith. And they took a mighty mission, and you can see where Lord Singh is today. He's a guide, he's a light to the entire community in the route map forward. Harsimran, we know you're 15 years of age. Can you tell us a little about yourself?
So yes, my name is Simran Kaur, and since I was little, I was taught about Sikhi. Ever since I was little,
you can remember.
I could speak, ever since I could remember, it was all about being Sikhi, being a better person. I remember my grandma used to like do Hukamname at the Gurdwara, do Ardas, and I would just listen, and I would have no idea what she's saying, but I'll be amazed by like how much power that has over you. And just like I remember when she was finished, I walked up to her and I was like, what are you saying? Like what do all the words mean?
What does it mean?
And she sat me down and she was like, this is what it means, and like when you are older you'll understand it more, but like this is what it is. And from them I was just mesmerized by the whole, like just in general about everything.
It's fascinating, isn't it? I mean, you started that early, but can you remember when was the first time? Was it again like here 2, 3 years of age? Like you said, you probably can remember from day one, Hukamnamas being recited in your, or Kirtan being recited in your ears. But is there one incident when you can remember you stood in front of a congregation or of people and you spoke?
I think it was like the Saki maybe, or is it a special event? And my grandma just finished with she just did the Hukamname and everything else, which was like settling down. Everyone sat down and I kind of pointed at my mum like, oh, can I go on stage and like say a story? And she was like, okay. And it was like in front of loads of people and I just stood up. But it was like I wasn't saying those words. It was just like everything just flew out itself. And it just, in general, the feeling and like knowing that people are actually listening to you, and why when you say something, it kind of helps you understand it in your own way as well. So yeah, probably when I was like 3 maybe.
It's not some miracle. It is part of your growth, part of your development. It's part and parcel of you, that way of life. I think that's how we should take it, and I think you had the right environment, surrounded by the right grown-ups there. What has been the inspiration for you? I mean, I know you grew in that environment, but there must be something inspiring you now, because you have done remarkably well. You have also gone to the stage of actually not tutoring or being a teacher at the Gurdwara. What inspires you?
When I was little, yes, it was obviously my family and my cousins and my grandparents. Now being a teenager and having social media in front of you as a massive platform, I think it's the questions that other people ask, which like very little amount of people have the answers to. Questions like, why is Path done in a certain way? Or what do you get out of reading the Guru Granth Sahib? What kind of answers are in the Guru Granth Sahib? And I think the inspiration comes from just the community, like in general.
And you know, when you're teaching, say, a 7-year-old or 6-year-old, what experience, what enjoyment or pleasure or experience do you gain from that?
I think it's just that little putting a smile on that child's face when they're writing the Ura Era in front of you, and you just give it a big red tick, and the smile that forms on their face, like, yes, I can accomplish something, because it all starts from a young age. Just by writing a little word can lead into something so amazing. And I think it's just like when they ask you questions, and when they're curious themselves, it just makes you feel amazing.
And as they improve, you must feel inspired. Wow.
Yeah.
And some of them now, I mean, you must have followed them for how many years? Your youngest student that you started teaching, how old is he or she now?
So there was one who was 5 years old, and I started teaching him.
And how old is he?
He's 8.
8 now.
And he is an amazing child. He knows all of his Japji Sahib.
Wow.
It's just, I think it's just amazing to see all these little kids and their parents helping them, and like us as well, giving them a better pathway to live in, I guess.
It's fascinating, actually. You know, you're already quite advanced for a child of your age. What does Gurbani teaches you? I mean, you are in a Western world. You go to a normal school. This is what we call in Akal academies and the Educate to Save schools. Even Khadur Sahib is as part of our group of schools. We call it value-based education. What is the center teaching you, Guru Nanak Darbar?
What they teach you is, it's very different to what you get like taught at school generally, because what you get taught at school is mainly practical basis. It's, if you do this, this is what you'll gain out of it. There's quite less meaning given behind doing something. Like if it was a maths equation, here's your maths equation, here's the answer to the question. In what Guru Nanak Darbar teaches you is, here's your answer and here's your question, but how to create that answer and how to create that question, and all those like tiny little aspects of Sikhi, and like even if you're reading like Japji Sahib, and they will go over every single word, no matter how many times you've been over it. Whether it's Nirbal, whether it's we're reading the Sukhmani Sahib, whether we're going over reading the Guru Granth Sahib, and there is like a meaning behind something. It's always the meaning is there, and they teach us how to apply it into our lives, how to like go on with it, but not to like get rid of your whole Western side. It's always respect what's there, but also implement part of your culture into your life as well.
No, it's fascinating. I mean, you brought in the word Western. Actually, Sikhi is perhaps the most modern of religions. It may not be Western, it's the most modern of religions. When you talk about the concept of the God or Godhead, Sikhi believes that everything comes from the Big Bang. If you Ang 1088, Guru Nanak Dev Ji talks about that, the Big Bang. At some stage we will run through a program which we did called Science and Religion on the origins of the universe. No scripture talks about that. Guru Nanak Ji talks about that. Science talks about that much later, but almost about 150, 200 years later. It's very clear from that Big Bang that everything around us in the whole universe is from that Big Bang. And the only difference between science and the Sikh philosophy, ideology, or the way we think, what Japji Sahib teaches you, what Guru Granth Sahib Ji teaches you, is that science believe that there was then nothing before the Big Bang. And the Sikh, Guru Nanak says, no. It was the Creator himself in his unmanifested form, in his planning mode, the design mode, how things will unfold. And Gurbani says, all this is his khed, his play. Guruji the player. And strangely, science will say, God, and then where did he come from if he was there before Big Bang? First, they don't believe in, science doesn't believe in God, but where did he come from? Of course, the first lines of the Mool Mantra, what does he say? a Juni Saban. He himself created himself from himself. And strangely, when we did this program about 6-7 years ago, we had 5 boys from Tiffin Boys School at Hanslow Gurdwara. And the science teacher, Mr. Holt, was from Cambridge University. And he came along to attend that program. And he's made a very important statement. He said, you guys are lucky that your religion or your faith or your way of life believes in what science says. And we said, no, science believes in what Guru Nanak says, right? He said, but you're lucky. I'm a Catholic, he said. My religion is at odds with my profession. I'm a physics teacher. Right? It was about 2 or 3 weeks after that program, after we conducted and we recorded that program, that one of the professors at London School of Economics, his name is, I think, Professor Lawrence. If you Google, you'll find his name. And he said something from nothing is possible. When somebody says, Juni Saban Kime ho, so how can somebody make himself from himself? He says something from nothing is possible. Science believes in that. Science believes it was only gases. But what were the gases? They are the gases that we are made up from. This is how unique the Sikh philosophy is. Why do we say everybody is equal? We say that because we came from the same source. Only geography has changed our colors and evolution in different places. Things are, and again, it's his play. So it is fascinating. And Ishmeet, can you make a comment on maybe what you have learned about, little bit about science and religion or anything like that, that you have learned from Sikhi?
Yeah. So science and religion, the hydrogen theory about first being a hydrogen particle, then water, then life, is proven by Siddhi God. I can't recall the exact quantity, but I have personally went out and seen it as well, translated it, and it works for me as well. And so that's why people tell me, you're a 21st century guy, and you've got a good education, you've got everything. Why do you believe in religion? Religion is like something from the past, some like third world thing. And then my reply to them is, have you actually researched into it? And they'd say no. And then I say, well, I have researched into it. And then I see the links and I see the truth. And that's why I see religion as a major important thing. Now, in my everyday life, when I have a question or something I'm confused about, it's religion that I normally turn to. And then it goes one step further. I mean, Ik Onkar itself is the theory of the Big Bang. Ik Oang, from the sound of Oang. So in school, the theory says the Big Bang, but in Khalsa, we say the Oang Bang, if that makes sense. And then from God, that God creates the whole thing. And then the planets, we say the planets, there's so many of them, they're constantly here and they're constantly gone. And then Mars says, Jaise jal mein budh budhe, as in like bubbles in the water, they come and then they go. And then it's like, it's proven again and again in science as well. Because I'm a science student, so I like science. Fantastic. And generally, whatever my teachers say, I can, most of the times, actually all the times, I can relate it back to Gurbani. And it's just amazing to see what links there are, and it just strengthens your belief in it, and it broadens your horizons in general. It widens your horizons, exactly. Because you have a better understanding. It's the narrowness of someone who says, why do you bring in religion? Exactly. You see, if you look at Oxford University and Cambridge, they were monasteries. They were churches. From there emerged science. Where did science come from? That's where it came from. Harsimran, I forgot to ask you my last question, which I ask everyone. Now, who would you like to give credit to? I mean, for this wonderful journey at this such early age that you have had.
Definitely, probably my parents and my grandparents. I would say like my whole family, because my mum, since like day one, since like I've been brought up, it's always been, do what you want to do, but do it the right way. Don't, if you want to do something, if you want to question something, do it, but never disrespect anyone. Always understand something before you give your opinion out. And my grandparents, both of them are Amritdhari, and they've never said don't do this and don't do that, or they've never said don't ask questions like that. It's always been understand what your questions mean and understand what the answers are. And my dad, and my mum, they've never said no to me. They've never said no, we don't have the answer to that. Or they've always said, okay, let's figure it out together. Let's go over it together. They've always put me forward so I can have a better pathway.
And sometimes when you take a hukamnama, it gives you the answer to some of your problems. I think that's why it's so unique. Are you proud to be a Sikh?
Definitely, absolutely, yes.
Yeah. I mean, you know so much more about everything. The Gurus have told you not to smoke, not to drink. And those who actually smoke and drink, they are almost on the average in this country. They are about 50 to 100 pounds worse off a week. Just imagine and what does it do, smoking and drinking? And our Gurus told us way back, it gives you an advantage not to drink and smoke. What are the advantages? Not just monetary, not just money, is also health, good health. You know, when you talk to the parents, they always say, oh, as long as health is there, everything is all right. You don't worry about wealth. With good health, you can earn money also. Yeah? Harsimar, now tell me, Hemkund Symposium, wow, it actually is grooming you, is training you to do different things and all that. But other than presentation skills, what have you learned most from not just the symposium, but also from Guru Nanak Darbar, seeing all the community come there? There are so many volunteers. Your parents probably are one of them, but there are probably hundreds of other parents there chipping in, and to make it such a popular institution. What have you got to say?
Confidence is the key thing that I've learnt so far. If it wasn't for the confidence, I wouldn't actually be here. So it's like Guru Nanak Dharmic School who has taught me how to be confident and how to put up my answer and not rely on someone else to give me the answer. I can actually solve the answer by looking through the question multiple times and try to solve it myself before I go ask someone else. So confidence. Confidence,
because confidence also brings focus, isn't it? So you're focusing on the problem, you're going back rather than getting defeated. In Sikhi, what is it? Chardi Kala. And a very good historian, if you again Google the history of the Sikhs, Hari Ram Gupta, he say a Sikh always says that Vaheguruji is always with him. Says Vaheguruji, the Sikh said Vaheguruji is always with them. Is Vaheguruji not with other religions, other races? But Sikh believes in it. If you believe, he will be with you. He is actually not, he's going to come from outside, he is within you. Tan, Man, Atma. Atma is from that Big Bang, that energy. That energy is from the Big Bang. We all have the same energy, the same Atma, same Ruh, all of them. What is the bigger Atma? Paratma, Paramatma. Yeah. So he is within you. And you summon him when you said, oh, this is tough. But you may say, Vaheguru, and then you actually go through that over and over again. And he's there with you, helping you. He is with you. Is there anything you want to add to that? I mean, that feeling at all? What the teachers at the Darbar teaches you about Sikhi and Chardi Kala? Is there anything they say to you? Don't give up.
They've taught a lot, and the thing that they taught the most is just be confident in yourself, and try to answer. If other people ask you questions, answer it confidently, and don't say, "Oh, I don't know." Just work it out yourself and try to answer it without letting them down and saying, "Oh, yeah, I don't know about this."
Thank you, Tripti. You did wonderfully well actually when we spoke to you earlier. In Sikhi is quite unique actually. We started with the youngest member, who's a real warrior here, and then we sort of went up, and then we just came down, because you climb a ladder. The lower steps are always small, aren't they? Then you climb up, but then you got to get down. So we got to get down to her. So I'm slowly coming down. Now, again, back to this symposium. Some of you get the opportunity to travel to America, and you get to meet everyone. We got only about 4.5 minutes, if I'm correct. 1 minute. Wow, we haven't got much time. So I think I'm going to bring this to a very quick end, and apologize that I couldn't ask my youngest member any too many questions. But we have a little gift for all of you. Remain where you are, just pass them through, because I think otherwise the cameras will lose their focus. Now, youngest member, pass it all the way to that. Hope you guys like this. And this is from Guru Ki Kashi, Akal Academies, and Educate to Save. I think we may just have about 30 seconds, if I'm correct. How many seconds? How many seconds have we got, sir? 30 seconds. So we got 30 seconds. Now, is there anything you would like to say very quickly about the Hindkund Symposium? Very quickly. You enjoy it?
Yeah, and it's boosted my confidence a lot.
No, I think it's a remarkable place where more of this should be opening all around the country, and we really wish that you are going to be a star, and we want you to be like Mai Pago, don't you think? And I'm sure you will be. Yeah, I'm sure you will be. Sadh Sangat Ji, I hope you have enjoyed this interview. I have thoroughly enjoyed it. I've never conducted anything like this. These are remarkable children. They are role models of the community. Certainly, I think that journey that we were talking about, preparing, nurturing the citizens of 21st century, I think we all need to travel this journey. It's a unique journey which all humanity must travel. We must have value-based education so we can be better doctors, better engineers, better scientists, better pilots, or better finance experts. When we look at the financial crisis, do you think that those experts in the city had value-based education? If they had value-based education, they wouldn't have done what they did to the city of London and Europe and the rest of the world. I think I will have. Okay, Sadh Sangat Ji, I think we have come to the end of the program. Thank you very much for joining us, and please join me for saying Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh.